So a penetrating sealer is a sealer that penetrates into the surface and fills the voids, the capillaries in the concrete or in the stone, rather than leaving a film on the surface. Okay, a film-forming sealer will dry and leave a film across the surface. A penetrating sealer soaks in and then reacts and will repel any oil or any staining or any water that wants to try and get into the surface. Is there a difference between a penetrating sealer and an impregnating sealer? Actually, those two terms are used interchangeably. They both really do mean the same thing. It's the sealer is penetrating into the surface and reacting inside the surface, as opposed to forming a film on the surface. So it penetrates or impregnates the surface as opposed to film form. So our CoverSeal Premium Sealer is a penetrating sealer that's used specifically for stain resistance as well as water resistance. In our line of penetrating sealers, the Premium has the maximum stain resistance. We use fluorochemicals that are very oil resistant and will penetrate into the surface and provide this maximum stain resistant property. So if you're in a situation, maybe you've got a food court, or maybe you've got a garage floor, interior or exterior situation where you're facing oil staining or food and grease staining, could be a driveway, could be an entranceway to a hotel or to a condominium, these high traffic areas that are subject to a lot of oil and staining, then the Premium is an excellent choice for you. The product penetrates into the surface without changing the look of the surface. So you can preserve the look of your natural stone, preserve the look of your concrete, and keep it that way, not get it stained by these oil drips or these food drips that can occur in these high traffic or high vehicular traffic areas. So the Premium product was developed initially for contractors that were doing commercial applications, high traffic areas where there's potential for a lot of oil or food staining to occur, like a food court or a hotel or a restaurant or a drive-through. But the product's very easy to use. It's non-hazardous, it's water-based, so we now make that available to the consumer market, to the DIY market, where they may face similar situations, perhaps in their garage or their driveway. This product can be used interior or exterior, or maybe in their patio, pool area, or barbecue area, where you're trying to protect against those food stains. So the Premium Sealer was developed to provide maximum stain resistance. So the situations where you're going to use this product are in high traffic areas that are going to be exposed to a lot of staining and discoloration. So think about high traffic areas like a shopping mall where you've got large numbers of people walking. Think about a gas station area where you've got large number of vehicles coming in and oil being dripped onto the surface. Think about large pedestrian or vehicular areas like parking decks or walkway areas where you have pavers, thousands and thousands of square feet of pavers, and your job is to keep those clean, and you're finding that you're having to go back regularly and pressure wash and to scrub and clean. The whole idea of the Premium is to cut down that amount of maintenance, that amount of cleaning, to make those surfaces much easier to clean and to reduce the frequency of that cleaning. The Premium is highly stain resistant and will give you a fighting chance to clean those products, to clean those surfaces without having to spend an extensive amount of labor and cost in doing so. So the typical situations where you're going to use the Premium Sealer is where you're looking for maximum stain resistant, oil and stain resistant. A lot of penetrating sealers out there provide water resistance, water repellency, but we're actually repelling oils and food-based stains. So in high traffic areas where the surface is going to be subject to petroleum-based, from vehicles, from workshop type activities, or in places like a food court or an airport or in a restaurant, or even like a drive-through to a takeaways. All these areas are going to be subject to staining and oil staining as opposed to just water repellency. So that's where you're looking to use that premium, where you need that maximum oil and stain resistance. So our CoverSeal Premium is highly differentiated from a lot of competitive products. We formulated this premium to give us maximum stain resistance. So we have a high level of active solids in the formulation, as much as 40% more than that you'd find in a typical DIY outlet. So a high level of active solids that work to repel oil and stains from the surface. And also they last much longer, right? The fact that we've got a higher level of active solids in there means that the sealer is going to last much longer. And then also we use a special formulation of solvents to wet out the surface. These are organic, environmentally friendly co-solvents that allow us to wet the surface, to seal it, and it'd be much more effective than what you'd find in a typical DIY product. That means now that you're going to have better coverage, and again, longer lasting. It's not going to be worn off easily by repeated cleanings. Remember, these surfaces still need to be cleaned, and a lot of the competitive products lose their efficiency or their repellency after cleaning, whereas the premium really maintains its repellency over many years. So when it comes to applying the premium, the CoverSeal Premium Sealer, we recommend that you use a roller or a brush, or if you're a contractor, you can also spray apply the product. It's very easy to use. It's water-based. You do need to make sure that the surface is porous. It will accept water. So if there's any previous sealers on there, any oil or grease, anything that's acting as a barrier, that has to be cleaned off first. And with CoverTec, we have a range of cleaning products we can help you with that. But the important thing is that if you were to put water on that surface, it would soak in. That's what we call a simple water test. As long as it passed that water test, then you're good to go with the premium. The product's applied depending on the porosity of the surface, anything from around 200 square feet per gallon to 500 or 600 square feet per gallon. If 2 coats are required, if the surface is very porous, it might need a second coat, and typically you wait about 1 hour and then apply another coat. If for any reason the sealer hasn't soaked in after about 10 minutes, then you need to spread it around. You need to sweep it off or brush it off into an area that hasn't been sealed. So any puddling should be eliminated after about 10 minutes. Let the product dry about 2 hours before you walk on it or open it up to service. It's going to continue to increase its repellency and its effectiveness over the next 24 hours, but you can walk back on it after about 2 hours of drying. So the CoverSeal Premium is designed to penetrate into the surface. So you need to be careful with other products that they don't block or act as a barrier to that premium sealer penetrating. So any curing agents, any other previous sealers that may be on there, any cleaning products or any oil or residue, all that has to come off first so that the premium sealer can soak into the surface. We recommend a simple water test just to see if you put water on the surface that it soaks in within 5 to 10 minutes. Then you should be good to go with the premium. It is highly repellent sealer. It's very oil and water repellent. So once the sealer is in the surface, it will act as a barrier to any other sealer over the top. So you can't paint over it. You shouldn't put epoxies over it. Shouldn't put any kind of urethane. It will repel those products. If you want to use those products, then you have to clean or etch the surface before doing so.